welcome to the Bold Black Girls podcast. I'm Aries.
And I am Kim.
All right, so this episode, we really just want to talk about kind of why we started this podcast in the first place and what prompted it. How did we get here?
So, I said we got here, met 2014. We're two black chicks. We met at the gym.
Met at the gym.
24-hour fitness.
But the funny part about how we met is, so we used to go to this Zumba class. And it's funny how people could be on separate journeys and then, end up together. Because I was just like, I want to go to a class that's really cool that I can enjoy while working out.
Right. Well, whereas my journey was I love to dance. And ain't no good dance class in Allen, Texas.
That's true.
So
we had this, but it was so I was going to 24-hour fitness regularly, just working out. I had a coworker I used to work out with. And then there was this class that will always be going on, this particular Zumba class. The instructor is a friend of ours named Kenya, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, Kenya don't play no
games. King.
Yeah.
A lot of us are connected because of Kenya.
Kenya used to be twerking so hard up in that Zumba class. Like, people be like,
right.
We didn't get up. What's going on up in this classroom? I just remember the twerking.
Well, and she is from New Orleans.
Exactly.
So that explains it.
Yeah. So it was jumping, though. Like, the music was good. The dancing. I was like, okay, I'm going to ease my way on into this class. And I feel like when I got in that class, y'all was in the front of the class and stuff already.
Well,
when did y'all start going to, because there's a group of us. There's
right.
probably like six of us or so.
So I found this gym. I was originally going to a different gym. And someone was like, why aren't you going to the gym in your neighborhood? And I was like, there's a 24-hour fitness. So I pop in and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get in the back. And I don't usually like to get in the back for personal reasons. So
trauma. Trauma from our ancestors.
Right, trauma. So I said, I'm going to get in the back because I don't know the moves. So I'm in the back. I was like, oh, she popping in. I was like, okay, I can do this. So then I slowly started moving up. I said, I'm going to go to the left side. So I go to the left side, and there are two black women to the right, and they're just really loud. I was like, okay, I like them. And so afterwards, it was Mona. She says, where are you from? I said, I'm from Chicago. She was like, what? I'm from Chicago. What side you from? I said, I'm from the south side. She said, well, I'm from the west side. And it was
over after that.
After that, it was over. It was over. And Kenya had class 3-4 times a week. So
it was like Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays or something like that.
Definitely. And I would leave work. I would block my calendar out so I can get to that class. Because that was just I was going through a breakup. And so going to the gym was my way to release. And it was an outlet. And so I knew we would go dance. Then after dancing, we would go in the sauna and sit and sweat and talk loud and, push people out. And they're like, oh, they're just too loud.
Too loud.
Too loud. Because it was a co-ed sauna. So I think that's how it started.
And then so I come in the class. They're already established, at this point. So they're in the front of the class now on the left.
Yep.
Where I used to be kind of in the back and on the left. But I would be behind them because I was like, they're helping me see what I need to do. And I'm entertained by this. And so then, I don't know. I feel like, Kim, you probably were the first one that said something to me.
Uh-huh.
And then I start easing up a little bit more. And then you be like, come on, ballerina.
Misty Copeland, come on up here, Misty.
And then I started just coming over there. But I was going through a breakup as well.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I had just got divorced probably 6 months before that. And then that was my outlet too, right? Yeah. And I really wasn't looking for friends. I was just like, I'm just here. I mean, I really wasn't because I was like, no new friends. I was telling him that I had a ringer on my phone. Every time my friends from back home would call me, it was the Drake song, No New Friends. Because I really was like, I'm cool. I'm not trying to. All my friends are back home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to. But at this point, I had been in Texas for 7. I don't know. I had been there since.
She went too long without friends.
I did. I mean, and I had people from other things that I was doing that I was cool with. So I had a couple of friends that I met through church and stuff like that. But I wasn't just let me meet people to go hang out with and stuff. And so Kim was like, come with us. We about to go to brunch.
We love brunch in Dallas.
And I love some brunch. And I didn't realize how much I love brunch probably until then.
I moved to Dallas.
Yeah, and I wasn't doing brunch
I was like, was there brunch in Chicago?
I'm sure that now you can find some good brunch because you'll be looking for it.
I think it's a trend now.
Yeah, it is a thing. And so I went to brunch with them. And I was like, let me think about this.
She was conflicted.
Because it was all Chicago people that day, remember?
Okay.
Everybody was from Chicago.
That's true. That's true.
And I think that's when Rio used to do the...
Oh.
Yeah, so we went there. I'm like, okay, all these Chicago chicks, I don't know. But I really found that I like Chicago people because it reminds me of the Bay Area a little bit, just kind of how the realness, kind of the raw kind of personalities. I was like, okay, well, I feel like... Yeah, and I feel like I was getting the authentic you in that. You know, I'm like, okay, she's not trying to play. She just really being her whole self, twerking in the classroom with her butt in the air.
Twerking and twirling.
I'm like, this girl, Lord. So, yeah. So, that's how we met.
And then it was just history after that.
Yeah. So, what else?
So, I say after the gym, I'm trying to think. We started... going to
after the brunch, I feel like it was like, okay, one more thing.
Oh no,
to
this
go
is
out.
what solidified it. It was, I think I had lost my dad, and
oh yes, when your dad passed, because that was June of 2014.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I remember that, and I was like, dang, I just met this girl. Like, how do I help, like, console her during this time? That was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, and that's when I knew who my friends were too.
Mm-hmm.
My friends came out. They were supportive. They was like, "What do you need?" And I didn't know how to take that supporting because I didn't have those type of friends in Chicago. And so at that point, I was like, "Okay, these are our friends." Then you called me, and I don't know if it was before my dad passed or after. You had braids. Mm-hmm. You was like, "I need these braids taken out."
Yes.
And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna go over there and take out.
You know, when you got new, that's the friendship.
That's official.
Like, and I remember because when you came, who was with you?
Shonda.
Shonda was with me, with you, and I was like, you are a friend now. You're officially
We're official
friends. Like, that was our official
we were over here
day.
like all day. It was either Saturday or Sunday. And we were over here like 4 hours, and you were tender-headed. You was like, "Oh, just be gentle."
I am so tender. I just got these braids. Yeah, 2 days ago, and I'm like, oh Lord, it hurts.
So that's how you know it's official. When you help a sister take down her braids,
we together.
Forever.
We're together now. I don't know about forever, but we were together. It worked out for us. But another reason, so with us, we fast forward. We went to a couple of networking events. Mm-hmm. The first one, I think. It was a networking event, but it wasn't like what we do now.
Event,
it was social. It was my first kind of getting out. Like, I wasn't going to do anything. I wasn't networking. I wasn't going out. So all this was like new territory, and we just kind of grew up from there.
Yeah, and I think I was in a season of I wasn't closed off to no new friends. I was open to friends, but I was like, okay, I need to be selective and have discernment about these people.
Yes, because you went through some friend transitions while we were, some of the people who you were friends with, and I did too.
Some we went to brunch with that I'm no longer friends with, and that's okay.
Yeah, and pretty much, I think we went through a couple cycles of just kind of shedding, untying.
Yep,
untying.
Yep.
Not necessarily cutting.
Yep.
But untying, and some we had to cut.
Yep.
But trying to be. Oh, and then remember we read the book together.
The
Woman Code.
The Woman Code by Sophia.
The Woman Code. That was our first little book, that we read.
We decided to read this book. We ended up going to a networking event with the author.
She came. Yeah, she was at Deloitte, and we went there and listened to her talk and had her sign our books and stuff. And I feel like that's kind of where we started being like, our friendship has gone to a different kind of level.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the gym anymore. It was like, we both like to learn. We both like to, work on ourselves and be
fitness. It was a whole mental, emotional. We had to be vulnerable with each other.
We had to be vulnerable. And I was very uncomfortable doing that at first.
Yeah.
But I think because of how we came together, and like with your dad and all that stuff kind of happening at the same time, it's like you kind of had no choice but to to be there.
Right.
So that was a good thing.
Because I'm going to be honest, I don't think in Chicago, I don't think I was as vulnerable with friends that I am here with in Texas.
Okay.
Because my dad had cancer in Chicago, and none of them knew until, like, right before we were leaving. They're like, why you didn't say anything? And I just didn't want to share it. I was like, it was a vulnerable moment. I don't even think I told the people at my job. So then my boss, I'm sitting up there with all that built in, and she's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, nothing. Just letting it go.
And I wonder if, and this will probably be on one of our episodes coming up, because now that you're saying that, like when I was going through that divorce, I was, like, my work was suffering.
Yes.
You know, but I don't think I told them that's what was happening. I might have said something, but as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, did I say anything? Because that's how I ended up leaving the job, because I was just like, we did a mutual separation. It wasn't I didn't get fired or whatever, but it was like, I can't focus. I'm not really giving you the productivity that I want to, but it was an ugly divorce. And I just was like, dang, what if we shared more? Right. You know, I don't know. We'll get into that later.
And it probably goes back to what my mother and other people, don't tell your business.
Yes.
At work.
Definitely.
Right. Keep it in. They don't need to know your personal business.
They don't care about that.
Well, perhaps had they known, they could have been empathetic to the situation. Like, hey, maybe we can give you a modified work plan. Maybe you can go part-time.
That's true. And I think, so we gotta.
So that's like vulnerability in the workplace too. Like, how vulnerable can you get?
I think you gotta still do the same thing where you're trying to make sure it's a safe space. Because there's some people you can't tell them everything that's going on. They'll use it against you.
Which goes back to another book we read, Brene Brown, about the
Brene Brown. It started with the TED Talk.
Did it start with the TED Talk?
Started with the TED Talk because you might have sent it to me and was like, oh, this TED Talk, you know. And
it was
that TED Talk sparked going to read the book.
It did.
And then obviously you're reading a book about vulnerability, you're going to start being a little bit more vulnerable. So I think that's how it started.
And then we wrote out.
Oh, we had an Evernote.
We did.
And we would write
Evernote.
out. Yeah, we would write out.
What our happy list was, what our intentions were. Anticipation, Valorie Burton.
Yes.
Shout out to
that was another book.
So what, we read at least 3 or 4 books.
Minimum.
Because
it was Happy Women. Wait, was the Valorie Burton book? Was Happy
Women. Can't think of the name, but it's Happy Women.
It's in here somewhere.
Yep.
Happy Women, something better. I don't know. It was something
Happy
like that.
Happy Women Live Better.
Live Better.
Like that.
And then it was the Success. Something. It was another one of her books.
With Sophia, Brene Brown.
Yeah, it was really a lot of good books. And that could be why the foundation was so good. You know, we started out doing this kind of stuff together. And I still be checking my little list sometimes.
I'll go back. I write mine every year.
I need to upgrade mine. I actually have some stuff on my anticipation list right now. I think it's good. We're going to share that with you guys on one of the next episodes, how we did that. Because I think I've sent it to other people since, like, you need to start writing out this, like, to help them.
What they say, make the vision plain.
Write it plain. Have something to look forward to. But how we got to this podcast, though. So, Kim and I, we are queens of networking. So, we are out here in these networking streets. But not because we want to network. Like, we're like, oh, we just want to be at every little thing. No. We're very strategic with the stuff that we go to. It needs to be something that we're either going to feel like learn something or
add value.
And
what value do we receive in attending this networking event? So it has to be purpose.
Yes, purpose. So we do that a lot. And whenever I find something, I hit her up. And she finds something, she hits me up. We get each other tickets. You know, we just kind of make it work. But we're also a part of a nonprofit organization for women in technology. And I'm the program director. So she's on my committee.
She recruited me.
She's forced.
I was voluntold.
Exactly. That's pretty much how I do it. And she's on my committee, so we wanted to put together a Black Women in Tech panel. And I knew going in that it was going to be something that just alone by saying this is a Black woman panel was going to be an uphill battle. And I received a couple, the organization was like all in and for it. But obviously as you're planning, you're going to come across a couple little things that, are just
had a little hesitancy.
can we learn a little bit more about the content of this?
Right.
What is this panel going to be? Specifically, who's going to be involved? Which nobody asked about any other panels. So I just had to kind of say that must be because it's all black women, which I'm not surprised because that's typically how things work. So it was fine, but we prepared for that panel for about 6 months in advance. Maybe 4.
Maybe
4
at
months.
least 4. Yeah.
4 months. But just like really, really working out the questions, making sure it was not going to rub people the wrong way. Because this is
safe.
Be safe. Because this is not typically a place where you're going to find a lot of black people. This is a high technology group, corporate kind of group. So you're going to mostly see a lot of white, maybe Indian and some others, but you don't really see a lot of black people. The years that we've gone in the past, it was a handful.
Actually, Aries is the one she's the catalyst for change. She stepped up. And so now I would attribute all of the African Americans that are attending, at least majority of them, due to Aries, if they see the face, they'll come.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, let me back up right quick. So how I ended up on the board of this place, because we were networking, and it was monthly networking where I was just like, dang, this is some good content. This is some good stuff. I wish there was more people that look like me in the room getting some of this, and access to people to network with. We got C-level executives in here that you can have a conversation with. So I started kind of poking around and asking some questions about what we're doing to get more black women. And honestly, they didn't have a plan necessarily, but they were very open. Like, no, we know this is the problem. We don't know what to do to start, so can you help us? And I'm like, sure. So I had to jump in and get to work. So it's mostly like helping to build more diversity in the programming. So this particular event is a conference. It's an all-day thing. And from 9 to 4, you just put in speakers, panels, keynotes, and panel discussions. So I just was like, I want my black woman panel. That's all I want. Y'all can have whoever else y'all want to be speakers. And I got the panel. It went great.
Ask and you shall receive.
It worked out. I moderated the panel. 3 people that I pretty much handpicked to be on this panel specifically. And it was cool. It was really great. So I started off letting people know that this may be uncomfortable, because really what I wanted to talk about was what happens with us in the workplace, specifically for black women. So there were some stats thrown out there about, it's not enough of us in the pipeline to move into C-level because we're not getting to the senior management level to even get to that point. And there's plenty of us that could fit in those roles. But this is just typical things. So I really appreciated the women who came up and spoke on that panel, because they were letting people know, like, yeah, I'm a director, but I still be dealing with this stuff. Or I'm at this level and I'm still dealing with these things. It's not just like, oh, you made it to this position, you're not going to have that. It's not the case. You're kind of going through this stuff at the same time. So,
and I think you did a great job as the panelist, kind of driving that conversation, putting everything together. It was so well received that they wanted more.
Right.
We wanted more. It wasn't enough time to go through everything that we experienced or that we faced day to day in those challenges, and that's how we ended up creating this as a spinoff to create our own.
Yes, and it's funny because as you just said that, a woman came up to me after the panel and said, "Thank you for being so bold." That was one of them. So I'm like, see how that all kind of ties back together. It just, as you were talking about people afterwards, and they were like, no, we need to do this longer. Yeah. We need more. And I mean, people were like, this is trailblazing, which is just hilarious to me, because I'm like, it's trailblazing to talk about the stuff that's going on with black women at work, because really it is an internal conversation. I think that we as black women talk about it.
We do.
But to be honest with you, when I was experiencing a lot of this stuff early, I did not think that it was other women having the same thing. I thought it was Aries, because I'm already bold and courageous.
She was born from boldness.
So I'm thinking, oh, it's because my mouth, it's because I'm not just conforming to everything and doing things the way everybody else does it, that people are uncomfortable with me specifically. But as probably over the last just couple years, as I've been talking to other women, I'm like, wait, you from New York? Wait, you from here? Y'all having the same thing that I have been going through? Like, this isn't just a me thing. This is a everybody. whoa, like I realized like, oh, this is real. So now we have way more resources at our fingertips where we can see the statistics. You know, there's research being done now on, you know, our equal pay and all that kind of stuff.
And I think for me, I knew that other Black women experienced that. My mother, she was a teacher, so she wasn't in corporate America, but she was a teacher, and she would come home at least once a week complaining about how she's being treated differently than the other Caucasian teachers. So we know it's not just in the corporate America, it's just period. And for Black women just working no matter what industry you're in.
See why we're here? That is why we are here. And speaking of that, I was sharing with Kim. I have this little container that I keep stuff from work. And I've been keeping this stuff since the 2000s, like 2000, 2001, when I worked at a company that was a very big company. And it was kind of my first job that I had to work with a lot of non-Black people. So originally I was coming from a call center environment where it was all Black people in there. I'm from Richmond, California, majority Black. Our call center, they closed down the Oakland call center and they came over. So it was just like Black and Mexican and, you know, up in there. All our managers were Black.
A lot of minorities.
Lots of minorities. So we were comfortable. We were in there having potlucks, and it was fun. Like, that was probably one of the best jobs I ever had because it was just so comfortable. And so I didn't have to deal with a lot of that stuff because we could just be like, what are you doing? Why are you over here doing this? Like, we could talk to each other like family, you know? But when I went into this place, it was all corporate and buttoned up, but they didn't have the policies. The policies and procedures weren't effective.
Let's just say I read some of those letters. I was surprised that she was still employed there as long as she was employed. I was like, you wrote this?
But, and see, I feel like I need to read.
You need to read
one. I feel like I need to read one. I don't know what I did with that thing, though. Oh, I put it back. I do need to read one. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't
bad. It was very bold.
It was bold because I didn't know the politics. I didn't know, oh, there's a chain of command that you're supposed to say it this way, or because professionalism has turned into passive aggression. You know, it's like I'm supposed to just be like, oh, well, let me do it this way because this will soften it up so that people can palate, you know, it can be palatable.
Right.
But I was just saying what I was feeling.
And so for me, when I started at the company that I've been with for quite a long time, I had a Black supervisor. So she was like a role model and a mentor, and she would say, okay, you know what, Kim, that's not appropriate. So I had someone that I could lean on to give me guidance on, no, that's not what you say. That's what you say, or that you don't put that in email, but always make sure you have it in writing, the CYA. And she was just really good about that. So I knew I had someone to lean on.
See, and that's why we do need mentors. I did not have that at all, so clearly.
Mm-hmm. And we have policies and procedures.
And they had them, but they weren't following them, you know? So it was like, look, I like my stuff to be together. And if I'm going to be here doing a job and be effective, and productive and all that, let's do this the right way. So I think I had some leadership skills in there that I had not honed because it's interesting. I'm going to read some of those one day. It won't be today, but I was very ready. I'm an Aries as well. So I was very ready, like gathering the troops, being like, everyone bring your suggestions on how you can be more productive. And I'm going to be at the meeting with the managers, telling them all the stuff and advocating for it.
Did you get an invite, a special invite to this meeting?
I probably invited myself. I think I asked, like, would it be okay if I come into the meeting and share some of the things that we could do, you know, or something like that.
So you brought, basically, like Shirley Chisholm, you brought your seat to the table.
I brought my seat to the table. They didn't necessarily like that, but it is what it is. And I ended up moving into a new department, you know, eventually, where I was able to put those skills to work a lot better.
Okay.
But
you found a better fit.
Yeah. I didn't know that was the start of, like, all the jobs. You know, I just never had a mentor. So I think that's something that we definitely need to be promoting for folks. Get you a mentor.
How long did you think it took you before you found a mentor, before your mentor found you?
I had Dave,
Okay.
Dave was kind of my go-to safe guy. He was my manager at the new department that I moved into. Actually, when I moved in, he was a peer. When we got over there, we were all on the same level. But then he decided that he wanted to move into training. And he moved training, then he moved to be a manager. So it was like, oh, you became a manager. Like, we're Jews. Right. So we already had a rapport. But he also could be like, okay, needs of the business is this. And then you got your... Like, he kind of could help tell me that I shouldn't be saying certain stuff.
How to navigate.
I still wasn't they couldn't wrangle me. That was the problem. I think I just need a different type of culture.
I can see that.
So that's a part of it. But yeah. Got to have a mentor.
Absolutely.
So anyway, that's really why we created this podcast. I was trying to think of anything else that we wanted to add in about ourselves or anything else.
No, I just think we've grown a lot over the past 5 years as women, as mothers.
Definitely.
We've shared stories with each other. Aries has helped me with my daughter.
Her daughter has helped me with my kids.
Right, my daughter has turned into the babysitter when she needs a babysitter. We traveled together.
Yeah,
cabin trip, serendipity. Yes. Which I think this all brings it back.
It really does.
And when I think about it, she said "No New Friends." The song that I can think of is "God's Plan" by Drake.
Exactly. That's so true.
Yeah.
Because I had to open up to receive friends, right? So I was saying no new friends, but at the time that I met you, I think because of where I was at, I was like, obviously it was in my head, like I need to start being okay with receiving, because people were coming to me to be friends, and I'd be like, I don't really be doing this. I really was, because like when me and Shonda started getting cool, I was definitely like, girl, I am not, that ain't me. But I just kind of let it happen a little bit. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll be cool with like having a support system here.
Right.
And I think once you have kids, you realize like I do need a village, And so we have a group of friends that we call the village. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like our go-to, just if you need anything or whatever. Like
started off as like happy hour, we're turning up. We would go to Top Golf, remember? Mm-hmm. Sunday fun day.
Yep. So we got 2 guys and then the 3 girls. And we just, there's more than 3 girls. I don't think. Rochelle's in there too. Mm-hmm. So it's a couple, it's like 6 of us or whatever. But yeah, we definitely have grown. That's the big part. Right. But it takes putting work in to grow. Yeah. Right? Like if we didn't do anything, we would be in the same place. So we have to be constantly challenging each other.
Challenge and checking. She will check me. And Aries probably doesn't know that. She's one of the reasons why I started going back to church.
See?
We would be at the gym, and she's like, so did you go to church on Sunday? I'm like, no, but I'm here at Zumba, ready to twerk. You need to get in the Word. You need to get to the church.
Look at God. So, look at God. Plant seeds.
Remember, we saw you at church, Mona and I.
Yes.
This was at 1. That's when we first started kind of like seeing each other. And so one of our group mates was in the choir. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go and listen to her sing. And it was real tight in there.
That was before we got the new building.
That's right.
Yes.
And so I told Mona, I said, you clap. And then after you clap, I'm going to clap. So we were over there clapping. And then I looked over and I saw you. She was over there just getting her worship and praise on. So I was like, you know what? Everybody started going to 1. I was like, okay. Because I had church hurt.
Okay.
Church hurt.
We need to do an episode on church hurt. I think that's a good one.
I had church hurt. So I knew God. I was on the drill team, the spiritual, the oratorical contest. I did it all. Ursher, whatever. I did everything. And then when I had my daughter as a teen mom, I stopped going because I felt...
You felt shame.
Yep.
See? And it goes back to the vulnerability.
It does.
And the shame and stuff. You got to get rid of that shame. Mm-hmm. Look at that. Look, I feel good now. I done brought somebody to the Lord. Hey, come on. If one person has been changed, then I have done my job. All right, cool. Well, we got so much more on these future episodes to share with you all, so we won't blow your ears up today. Right. But the main thing is, one of the things we're going to do is we have a Facebook group that we've created where you can share things based on what we talk about on the episode. So today's is what's going to be their call to action for the Facebook group, or Instagram as well. Instagram.
So we want to know what your defining bold black woman moment is. And Aries just shared with us what her bold woman moment was. I read those stories and I was like, you were bold at that age?
Because that was 20.
That was 20. I didn't get my boldness to maybe early 30s. That's when I got gangster.
Okay. Because I
got real gangster.
You're going to get gangster at some point.
Yeah, I think what happened was I was in a position for 5 years and I was like, I have not been promoted. And when I moved to Texas, my progression slowed down, whereas in Chicago I was getting promoted every 2 years. And I was like, wait, something is going on. What is wrong? First, I dropped that man. So when you get out of a bad relationship, they will keep you from your blessings. So once I got out of that relationship, I said, you know what? I think I was talking to a colleague and they were like, yeah, I went and talked to so-and-so. I said, you did? So I scheduled a meeting with every white man that I knew that was in that department. And I asked them, I said, what do I need to do in order to go to the next level? What am I missing? What can I do better? And they would fly in from Chicago and I would find out, get close with the admin. Oh, Brian's flying in. Okay, let me put 10 minutes on his calendar. We're going to go get coffee. So I would schedule coffee with those gentlemen. And every time they would come into Chicago, I would meet with them. I made my face. I would show my face. I would volunteer for different stretch opportunities. And then lo and behold, I got one of the most prestigious awards, which is a 5-star. And I got promoted in the same year.
See? Internal network.
So, exactly. So my bold moment was speaking up, letting my voice be heard to let them know I know my value and I know what I bring to the organization. Do you see it? And I can't make you see it. If you don't see it, let me know and I can move on.
And to let them know that you want it.
Right.
Because sometimes they might be like, she don't want to.
Right. She's complacent. She's just fine.
You're like, nope. When is the next promotion? Yep. I want one. Yeah. Speaking up. So you guys got to let us know when your defining bold black woman moment was. And so we can communicate back with you and engage in that dialogue. Yeah. And also, like I said, we will need you to review and rate our podcast. If you're listening on iTunes, that's pretty much where the rating and the reviews happen. But any platform that you're on, if there is a rating system, please give us 5 stars and a lovely review so that we can know how we're doing. After that, we will be posting our next episode on